Picture this for a moment. One of the most brilliant minds in rock history, the guy who turned Pink Floyd into a global legend, sitting down at 81 years old and finally unloading a secret that's been festering for decades. What if Roger Waters, the man behind the wall, Dark Side of the Moon, all those songs that still give us chills, looked you dead in the eye and said, "Here's the real, ugly truth about why Pink Floyd fell apart. Not the sanitized version we've been fed, but the raw, unfiltered story straight from his gut." Sounds like something you'd stop scrolling for, right? Well, that's what we're unpacking today. This isn't just about a band splitting up. It's about friendship, fury, betrayal, and a war that's haunted Roger for 40 years. So grab a drink, settle in because Roger's about to expose some dark truths, and I've got the full scoop for you. Let's start at the very beginning, because you can't understand the end without knowing where it all kicked off. It's the mid-60s, and Pink Floyd's this oddball band jamming in smoky London clubs. Roger Waters is a lanky, serious guy from Cambridge, holding down the bass. He's not the star yet. That's Syd Barrett, his childhood mate. Roger and Syd go way back, growing up together, swapping records, dreaming about making music that matters. Syd's the spark. He's got this wild hair, this far-out energy, and he's writing these quirky, psychedelic tunes like Arnold Lane and See Emily Play. Roger's right there with him, laying down grooves, soaking it all in. They've got Nick Mason on drums, Richard Wright tickling the keyboards, and later David Gilmour joins up. Back then, it's Syd's band. Roger's just happy to be along for the ride, part of this weird, wonderful thing they're building. Those early days are magic. They're playing underground gigs, tripping out with lights and sounds, carving a name for themselves. Syd's got this knack for melodies that stick in your head, and Roger's starting to find his voice too, writing bits here and there, adding his own flavor. Their first album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, drops in '67, and it's pure Syd, dreamy, strange, a little unhinged. Roger's proud of it, but he's not the leader yet. He's watching Syd shine, and it feels like they're on the edge of something huge. They're mates, a tight crew, scraping by, laughing through the chaos. Roger said before they'd pile into a van, half broke, chasing gigs, living on adrenaline and cheap beer. It's scrappy, but it's theirs. Then it all starts to unravel. By '68, Syd's falling apart. Too much acid, too many late nights, he's losing it. He'll stand on stage, staring at nothing, forgetting how to play. Roger's gutted. This is his best friend, the guy he started this with, and he's slipping away. The band's in a panic. They can't keep going with Syd like this, but kicking him out feels wrong. Roger tries to hold it together, but it's no use. They bring in David Gilmour, this smooth guitarist with a golden voice, to pick up the slack. Syd's phased out, gently they say, but it's brutal. He's gone, back to Cambridge, a shell of himself. Roger's crushed, but he steps up. Someone's got to steer the ship, and he's got ideas brewing. Dark, big, bold ones. Fast forward a bit, and Pink Floyd's transforming. Roger's taking charge, pushing them into new territory. The '70s roll in, and they're not just Syd's psychedelic experiment anymore. They're something deeper. Metal comes out in '71, with that epic track, Echoes, and you can hear Roger's influence growing. Then, in '73, they drop Dark Side of the Moon. Holy cow, what an album! Roger's writing about time ticking away, money corrupting, madness creeping in, stuff that hits you right where you live. David's laying down these soaring solos. Nick's drumming is tight. Richard's keys are eerie and perfect. It's a masterpiece, sells millions, and suddenly Pink Floyd's not some niche band, they're giants. Roger's the architect now, the guy with the vision, and he's loving it. The next few years are pure gold. Wish You Were Here in '75 is Roger's heartbreak on wax, songs about Syd, about loss, about feeling disconnected. Shine On You Crazy Diamond is this long, aching tribute to his old friend, and you can feel every ounce of Roger's pain. David sings it like he's carrying the weight too, and it's beautiful. Then Animals in '77. Rogers getting political, tearing into society with pigs and dogs and sheep. He's not just writing songs, he's telling stories, painting pictures. The band's clicking, but Rogers' grip is tightening. He's got these grand concepts, and he's not shy about telling everyone how it's gotta be. David's starting to push back a little, Richard's quieter, Nick's just rolling with it. They're still a unit, but the seams are showing. By '79, Rogers ready to go all in. He's got this wild idea, The Wall. It's a rock opera about a guy named Pink, a burned-out star who builds a wall around himself to shut out the world. It's Rogers' life in disguise. His dad killed in the war when he was a baby, his battles with fame, his anger at everything. He pitches it to the band and they're on board, but it's his baby. They record it, and it's intense, double album, crazy production, Rogers singing his guts out. David's got that killer solo in Comfortably Numb, but he's clashing with Roger over direction. Richard's barely in the picture. Roger fires him mid-sessions, though he sticks around as a hired player. The album's a monster hit. They tour it with these insane shows, giant walls, inflatable pigs, and Pink Floyd's Bigger Than Ever. But backstage, it's a pressure cooker. Let's zoom into that tour for a minute because it's a turning point. They're playing stadiums, pulling off this massive production, but Roger's cracking. He's spitting on fans who get too rowdy, barking at the band, obsessing over every detail. There's this famous story from Montreal in '77. Before The Wall even came out, he lost it at a heckler. Spat right at him. That's where the idea for The Wall started, that feeling of being cut off. By the time they're touring The Wall in '80 and '81, Roger's a dictator. David's fed up. Richard's gone. Nick's just trying to survive. They pull it off. Those shows are legendary, but the band's hanging by a thread. Roger's pouring everything into it, but he's pushing everyone else out. Now we hit 1983, and the final cut diet cow. Roger's got this new concept, another war story, a tribute to his dad, a middle finger to Thatcher and the Falklands mess. He's calling it Requiem for the Post-War Dream, and it's personal as hell. But David's not into it. He thinks it's too bleak, too Roger-centric. They fight like cats and dogs in the studio. David wants more say, Roger's not budging. Richard's out completely. Nick's laying low. They finish it, but it's a slog. David barely plays. Roger's voice is all over it. When it drops, fans love it, critics are mixed. But the band's toast. Roger's drained, David's pissed, and the cracks are canyons now. Here's the big moment. 1985. Bye. Roger's had enough. He sits David and Nick down and says, I'm done. Pink Floyd's finished. He's burned out. Years of carrying the creative load, fighting with the guys, battling his own demons. He thinks that's it. Without him, the band's kaput. After all, he's been the heart and soul since Sid left, right? But David and Nick don't roll over. They're like, nope, we're not done. Roger's floored, then furious. To him, Pink Floyd is him. He wrote the lyrics, dreamed up the concepts. Without him, it's a sham. But David's got his own ideas. He's sick of being Roger's sidekick, ready to lead. Nick's in, they bring Richard back, and suddenly Roger's on the outside looking in. This is where it gets nasty. Roger doesn't just walk away, he digs in. He sues them, trying to block them from using the Pink Floyd name. I created this, he says. You can't take it. It's a legal mess. Courtrooms, lawyers, headlines. Roger's fighting for his legacy, but David's not backing down. In '87, David's Pink Floyd drops a momentary lapse of reason. It's glossy, it's huge, sells millions. Roger's seething, calls it a fake, says it's got no soul. Fans are torn. Some swear by Roger, some vibe with David's new sound. Roger fires back with his solo stuff. Radio KAOS. But it doesn't land the same. The split's real, and it's bitter as hell. For years, that's the tale we hear. Roger quit. David took over. They sniped at each other in the press. Roger's out there calling David a second-rate talent. David saying Roger's a control freak who choked the band. And Rodman Band. There's a flicker of peace in 2005. Live 8, this massive charity show. They play together, Wish You Were Here, Comfortably Numb, and it's electric. Roger's singing, David soloing. The crowd's losing it. They hug after, and for a second you think maybe it's cool. One. But nope. Back to their corners. David keeps Pink Floyd going with the Division Bell in '94, a few more bits after. Roger builds his solo career, tours the wall on his own, keeps his distance. Let's jump to today, or at least, a today we're imagining. It's 2025, Roger Waters is 81. He's still kicking, still loud, still the guy who'll say what he thinks and damn the consequences. Maybe he's on a podcast, maybe it's a big interview. He's got that steely look, that edge that never dulled. The host leans in, asks about the split, not the PR fluff, but the real dirt. Roger smirks, takes a sip of water, and says, "You want the dark truth? All right, here it is." The air gets thick, and he lets it rip. It wasn't just creative, he starts. It was a knife in the back. David and I, we despised each other by the end. I built Pink Floyd, bled for it, and he stole it. Roger's not mincing words. He admits he was a hard-ass, stubborn, demanding. But he says David played dirty. He waited till I walked, then grabbed it like it was his birthright. He talks about the lawsuits, how they gutted him, how he felt like he'd lost his child. That name, Pink Floyd, it was my identity, he says. They turned it into something I didn't recognize. But he's not stopping there. Roger peels back more layers. The label was in on it, he claims. They saw dollar signs, pushed Dave to keep it alive, didn't give a damn about the music, just the machine. He points at Nick too, says he stayed quiet to protect himself. Didn't pick a side till it was safe. Richard? He came slinking back after I'd cut him loose. Roger scoffs. It was a pile-on. They ganged up, left me in the dust. His voice wavers, he's 81, but the sting's still sharp. You can see it in his eyes. This isn't ancient history. It's yesterday. Then he drops the big one. I wanted to kill it in '85 because I knew we were done, he says. The final cut was my last shot. Everything I had left. They didn't get it, didn't want it. I was fighting for the soul of Pink Floyd, and they were counting tour receipts. He's exposing the rot. It wasn't just a breakup. It was a betrayal of what they'd built. David's Pink Floyd, he says, was a hollow shell. It's not the name that matters, he growls. It's the spirit, and that died when I left. He's tearing down the fairy tale. The idea that Pink Floyd just shifted gears and kept rolling. To Roger, it was a heist. Let's dig into that for a sec. The final cut, listen to it again. It's raw. It's Roger's heart on a platter. Songs like The Fletcher Memorial Home or Two Suns in the Sunset. They're angry, personal, pleading. David called it miserable. Wanted more light. Roger didn't care. He was done chasing hits, wanted truth. Maybe that's why he walked. He saw the end coming, didn't want to drag it out. But David turning it into this shiny new Pink Floyd? That's the dagger Roger can't pull out. Comfortably numb, without him, it's sacrilege in his book. He keeps going, and it gets heavier. I think about Sid all the time, he says, softer now. He was the start. The real Pink Floyd. I tried to keep that alive, but I lost it. Lost him, lost them. Roger's exposing more than a feud. It's guilt, regret, a guy wrestling with what he couldn't hold together. He talks about the early days, sides strumming in a basement, the five of them against the world. We were brothers, he says. And I watched it all burn. At 81, he's not just mad, he's mourning. But flip the coin. Roger's no angel. He ran Pink Floyd like a general, his way or the highway. David said it, he didn't want a band, he wanted yes men. Richards talked about feeling crushed. Nick's hinted at the tension. Maybe Roger's the architect of his own exile. Pushed too hard, refused to bend. David didn't steal Pink Floyd. He salvaged it when Roger bailed. The division bell. It's got heart. It's got fans. Roger calls it fake, but millions disagree. The dark truth might be messier than he lets on. Both sides carry scars. So, imagine Roger at 84, leaning back, eyes glinting. I don't forgive them, he says. But I don't hate them either. I just want people to know what happened, what really happened. He's proud, dark side. The Wall, those are his monuments. But he's haunted too, by Sid, by the split, by a legacy split in two. Pink Floyd was us, he says. And we tore it apart. It's not a confession, it's a reckoning. What's your take? Was Roger fighting for the real Pink Floyd, or did he sabotage it himself? Hit the comments. I want to hear your side. If this deep dive's got you gripped, smash that like, subscribe, and tap the bell. Pink Floyd's a story with no easy answers, and we're just getting started. Thanks for sticking with me. See you in the next one.